But speaking of jokes, I've got a joke for y'all. Um, what has,
There's no way this goes well, so good luck.
I don't even want to now. What has 6 arms and is about to do the Fairly KickAss podcast and had to count 3 times in his head to make sure that the number 6 was correct?
Well, there's 2 different answers to that. I'm going to go with Squidward.
Yes. I'm such an idiot. Play the music, please. Get me out of my misery. Like, is it 8? Do we have 8 arms between the 3 of us? I don't know.
Did you ever sit back and see a situation and just decide, you know what? There's the only way this ends is in a car crash. I should just step to the side of the road and let physics take over, because no good will come with trying to jump in and intercede.
You know, you're not wrong.
That's what I just witnessed in front of me.
Yeah, mostly you just have to see what's going to you got to rubberneck that shit.
Oh, yeah.
I was Sum 41 by that point. I was in too deep. I couldn't get out. And this is where we ended up on this episode of the Fairly KickAss podcast, which is already firmly in the gutter before we've even said 100 words. The we, by the way, Zach, me, the stupid one, Dan and Jay, the ones that have to deal with the stupid one.
Oh, here, let me explain it real quick by our characters on the show too. He's the stupid one. He's the stupid one, and I'm the dumb one.
yeah, that adds up. That
I like
tracks.
it.
Yeah, that covers everybody.
Yeah, I think so. Luckily, we don't have to have many brain cells to look at a list of songs and re-rank them, which is exactly what we did here for this episode. It is our Billboard re-rank / re-rack / reorder episode. And because we're idiots, we don't really know which one to use and have used them all 3 interchangeably over the years. We essentially take the year-end Billboard Hot 100 chart that comes out, and we pick a random year and we reorder it. We correct all of the songs, all of the orders. We tell America where they fucked up, where they rarely got it right. And we present our findings to the class. This current year that we did for this episode was 1996, which for my money was a pretty damn good year of music.
Yeah, I actually feel like America got a lot right that year.
Truth, I kind of went in with trepidation expecting, like, because 1990s, a lot of the mid 90s were a really weird time. If you kind of looked at like the pop scene, there was no way to define it. Like the beginning of the beginning of the decade had a clear definition. Well, from like 92 on, had a clear definition of what it was. The end of the decade had a clear definition of what it was, and there was a lot of stuff in the middle. Not necessarily to the negative. It's just there was just a lot of stuff. There was nothing. There wasn't a clear, like, you can't say like this feels so 1996, like, because it's hard to define what that actually is. But if I said, this feels really 92, you know exactly what I mean. Or this feels really 99. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of it's nostalgia for me. This was, high school. This was, where I lived in music. And so most of this list is something that I really got behind in a good way. Not all of it.
Yeah, there were some stinkers for sure. I feel like this list, more than we've probably done maybe 15, 20 of these over the years so far, re-ranks. And I feel like this year, more than others, we are going to have a significant amount of overlap at the bottom. I don't know about the top, but I feel like the bottom is going to be fairly consistent between the 3 of us.
I may have thrown a curveball to you just for the sake of doing it. But there might be overlap.
God damn it.
Also, for the first time since we started doing these, like since the very first 1 or 2 of these that we've done, I have a true rank 1 through 100 where everything has a spot.
Nice.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Oh, yeah. Well, we will jump right into our re-ranking. We'll give you an overview of kind of how we like to do this. We start at the top of the list. We go through our 10 through 6 relatively quickly in rapid fire succession, and then we go in order with our number 5s, number 4s, number 3s, number 2s. Before we get to the number 1, we go, as I was mentioning, down to the bottom of the barrel, where we give you our bottom 5 before we jump back up to the top for our number 1s to leave you with a good taste in your mouth before we end the episode. Those bottom 5 sometimes become a bottom 10, depending on how frisky we're feeling that day.
And whether or not we are Dan.
And whether see, I didn't want to say it. I didn't want to. The man has very good bad takes.
I mean, I guess you could also say I just happen to always be crispy. I don't know how that works.
Hey,
I just
live, man.
I live in the musical air fryer, okay?
This is a judgment. Well, it's not judgment.
No, it's not a judgment. The hell, it is a judgment-free
It's an
zone.
abundant judgment zone.
Literally all we do.
It's like, if that's the case, then we might as well, like, this show doesn't work anymore.
That's true. That's true. Well, since we got you, well, actually, no. Yeah, sure. Why not? Dan, why don't you start us off with your 10 through 6 and then give us your number 5?
All right. I suppose I can do that. Yeah, let me go ahead and ruin some of this because I think it'll help y'all with your bottom 5. So before I get started with any portion of the list, let me just clarify. My list runs from 1 to 97.
Oh,
Yeah. So I've disqualified 3 tracks immediately.
okay.
I have a hunch it's 3.
I Can't Sleep, Baby, If I.
Mhm.
Down Low, Nobody Has to Know.
Mhm.
And you remind me of something, which, let me tell you, probably would have been 100. Dairy Queen immediately. And I let you put it together in your head the common thread there, and then you can also figure out why I won't be including them tonight.
Fair.
Yeah, that is extremely fair.
No judgment if you actually put yourself through those 3 tracks. It's fine. I just, like, at a certain point I went, nah, not even trying. I don't even want to dignify it.
I can respect that choice.
Absolutely.
10 through 6, though, worth dignifying, though. Number 10 comes to us for Janet Jackson, and it's Runaway, because it's a shinier escapade, and that is in no way a bad thing. The first surprise at number 9 might be the World I Know from Collective Soul. A powerful song with an even more powerful video to go with it. And I know I'm going to be alone on this because number 8 is Jan Arden and Insensitive. And it's totally a personal call and no problems like laying that out there. But for some reason, I remember hearing this track a bunch as a kid. And then later on, completely like locking in on Arden's vocals and words, like I said, much later on. Number 7 takes us to No Doubt, Just a Girl. The defiant statement that truly announced the arrival of Gwen Stefani as a musical superstar. Like Don't Speak was the crossover. That was the thing. But Just a Girl was the real explosion. Right. I mean, maybe Spiderwebs, but this is the one that really kind of first caught the imagination. And at number 6, I have Tracy Chapman and Give Me One Reason. Because I'm a mark first and foremost. But she gave us more than just one reason to keep coming back to this stripped down blues rocker. Because it's a slow burner that stays in that right gear for the lyrics, while also staying musically loose, allowing for the fluidity that's kind of vital in good blues.
You agreed with America on that one.
Yeah, I don't think I have much in the way of dissent on any of those 10 through 6. There was a little bit of overlap from my 10 through 6 as well. I won't mention that until I get to my turn. But yeah, none of them were down towards the bottom. So that's so far.
All right, it's not, I'll take it. I can't be too picky here.
I'm actually having difficulty finding Insensitive on my list. It's here somewhere, but it doesn't really matter.
I was for half a second, I was like, I'm having trouble finding my 6 through 10. Whoa, well, I think we have another issue.
No. I got that.
Yep.
That song's not on there in the 6 through 10. That's probably it has to be the lowest, although I can't find it. Other than that, I have no arguments anywhere.
I admit I gave there's a personal thing. That's why I got that high. That's fine.
Yeah, as I'm looking through my list.
So I'll take any argument there. That's like, sure.
I have it at 84.
Ooh, damn.
Well, I see I done fucked up because I see Insensitive at number 70, which is actually kind of middle of the pack on my list, which I'll explain in a minute. Somehow Give Me One Reason was number 90. And I feel like that must have been a typo because Tracy
Wow.
Chapman is amazing. And I don't know that I would have in the right mind rated a Tracy Chapman song.
Did you mean 9?
I must have, right? Because that's criminal. Apologies, Tracy. I know you're listening to the podcast. So many apologies to you. You deserve so much better than 90. Oh.
I would say if you just didn't vibe with it, you're like, oh, it's like 40 or something. Like, nah, I guess I can get that. But 90 doesn't. No, yeah.
No, that's incorrect.
Does not compute.
Yeah, I don't know if it would have been top 10. Probably, like you said, 30s, maybe like low 40s, but not 90.
Yeah.
Anyway, on to your number 5, my friend.
Yeah, well, as the two of you are very well aware, and I'm soon the listeners will also be soon, 1996 produced its share of pop and R&B ballads, and there was no way that one wasn't going to make the climb up here. Though possibly not the first one you may think of. It's, in fact, the second single off of her 15-time platinum sophomore smash Secrets. At number 5 is Toni Braxton and Unbreak My Heart. A blistering track jammed with heart-wrenching emotions and intense vocals. Unbreak My Heart does manage to fall into that slow burn category again, simmering through the first couple of verses before like the explosion of the final chorus. Yeah, just building up all this tension kind of quietly before the huge final release. No, I'm not making an innuendo with that. There very well could be a parallel here to the stages of getting over a relationship, but you'll have to seek out a much smarter commentator for that. I mean, I did just inadvertently make an innuendo while saying I wasn't making an innuendo. So,
yeah, you did.
Yeah. So you're a goddamn professional is why.
Thank you. Best I can tell you, though, it's an incredibly moving track that also translated into massive success for Braxton, which I was unaware of before I even like picked the song. When I had like filling out my notes, I'm like, oh, damn, I had no idea that it was a number one song for 11 weeks.
Yeah.
And brought her 5th Grammy. To be fair, You're Making Me High, which I had ranked at number 13, also won a Grammy. So there was do no wrong thing going around with Toni and the Secrets record in general.
Yeah, I have it at 17. Well, I have Unbreak My Heart at 17 and You're Making Me High at 19, sandwiching One Sweet Day.
Yeah, it was in the teens for me as well, hitting at number 14. So, yeah, right in that same kind of sweet spot.
Yeah. Excellent pick. Can't go wrong.
The range with Toni Braxton, it's the range that always just, goddamn. The lows sound so great. The highs sound so great. Like, I don't know if there was another vocalist I can think of, at least of that era, that had such control and such a wide range that sounded fantastic no matter what, which octave was being sung in. I mean, super underrated.
I did just name another one in that.
Yeah, I was just saying there is one I can come up with, and I'm sure we're going to talk about it here pretty soon.
Yeah.
We might make mention.
Yeah. But since you said stuck your neck out there on that one, why don't you go ahead and pick up the slack and give us the rest of your 10 through 6?
I think I could do it.
I hope so.
We're going to start with one that is going to be immediately disagreeable, which is Pony by Genuine. Highly recommended as is, even more recommended if you can find someone to perform it in Mickey Mouse's voice. And that is actually a thing that I've been treated to in my life, and I will not be the same. I will just leave it at that. I will not be the same.
So many questions.
0 answers. As Jay had mentioned, Mariah Carey and Boyz II Men with One Sweet Day. For once, the people didn't get it wrong with this one. 16 weeks at number 1, only bested most recently by Old Town Road. Deserved every single week it was up there. Number 8, Blues Traveler with Hook. It brings you back. It brings me back. It just brings all of us back. It's a fantastic song. Number 7, the overlap that I mentioned with Dan, The World I Know by Collective Soul. Speaking of a great hook, this track has that too. Shades of Duran Duran's Ordinary World, which was, I don't know, higher praise you could give to a song, at least of that era. And as Dan said, a great music video also. And number 6, Sophie B. Hawkins with As I Lay Me Down, another one of my favorite songs from the decade as a whole, beautiful and touching ode to Sophie's late father. And that silence means I'll jump. Go ahead.
No. It's I will hold my comments.
Fair.
I might need to rewrite some stuff real quick.
Crap.
Yep, I made an edit.
This is usually how this goes with my list.
Yep, made an edit.
I say
you can probably guess which one too. No, the rest.
I don't think I can. Oh, okay, I can.
Yeah, you can.
I can. I absolutely can.
The rest of your list, I got no beef with. It's not all on mine either, but I, don't have problems with the rest of it.
Well, I would suspect that you're not going to have problems with my number 5, but that remains to be seen.
Aside from the edit, let's just say that you claimed that you thought you'd have an issue with Genuine, but no. I mean, I have it at 25.
Mine's at 46, but
nah, that's seriously one of the best jams of the decade. I don't know what you're talking about.
Damn. I mean, I thought so. I thought y'all were going to be on board.
Yeah, no, I have it mid. It's fine.
I don't know which one is not mid then. I'm genuinely curious what I'm going to get shit on for. I'm excited to find out.
This is not going to go the way you think it is. Just trust me.
It never does. That's why it's fun.
All right, what's your number 5 though?
So real quick, before I get into my number 5, I do have to mention that my list is going to be not 97 songs like Dan, but 105 songs instead. Because there's this little thing called double singles the Billboard tracks or the Billboard charts used to do for the Hot 100. They've since moved away from the concept of singles to the concept of songs, which is what it should have been in the first place. But this list was littered with a number of A-side, B-side tracks that I enjoyed both of. And I was like, well, how do you choose between the two? So I just added them all. And then I also removed I Can't Sleep Baby, You Remind Me of Something, and Down Low by Hess Now, which is unfortunate because Ronald Isley was on that track. It was fantastic. The rest of it, we don't have to ever discuss again. So
we will a little bit because I didn't eliminate it.
Okay. Then I don't have to discuss which again is perfectly fine. Fine.
I figure we've gone beyond the thing where we're dropping the songs into the podcast, so I don't have to ignore it for the sake of the listen.
Absolutely not. No, you do it. You do what you feel, man. And I am going to do my number 5 real quick, which is perhaps the most 90s song on this list. I feel like this band had a very signature style in that way. Everything was very 90s and everything was very good. Well, that's not exactly true, but most of it, some of it was very good. And some of it also existed. But this song was good. This song was great. Imagine sitting there with a gigundous can of Arizona tea in one hand, using the other hand to yank the video game controller away from your little sibling or your neighborhood pal. It was 96, so that would probably be maybe a Super Nintendo. Maybe you're on the cutting edge of like the Nintendo 64, the PlayStation, whatever it was. You'd be listening to the radio where inevitably a Gin Blossom song would come on, and there was really nothing more 90s than that. And for my money, the ginniest of all of the Blossom songs was Follow You Down. It was sweet. It was downright saccharine, if performed by anyone else, but given a sort of legitimacy thanks to the vocals of one Robin Wilson. A simple story of following a one that you love, but it didn't have to be complex because you picked up what he was putting down, and a lot of us related to it as well. By the by, you can head over to Spotify if you want more FKA Gin Blossom's content, as that is one of the episodes that we did that is still part of the Spotify exclusivity. One of our patented deep dive episodes that we did about the band several moons ago. Eventually, we'll pull that over to all of the podcast platforms. But before then, if you want to hear what was actually an unexpectedly dark story,
it was.
Then hop over to Spotify, search for Fairly KickAss Gin Blossoms, and you should find the episode. And let us know what you think in the ways that we will tell you at the end of the show.
Beauty. I have it at 23, but I think it's because I lumped the two songs together like you didn't do.
Yeah.
Right. Like, so the Follow You Down Until I Hear It From You, and they're almost the same, like very similar in style, very Gin Blossoms. And I thought with the two of them together, they make it top 25.
That's fair. That's legit.
I took the opposite route, I think. So, and that'll come into play here in a little bit as well. And I just did the A or 1A. Mm-hmm. Follow You Down still made it to number 14. Don't get me wrong. Like, it's absolutely, but I think I personally like Till I Hear It From You better. So it probably would have hit top 10. But like I said, I was like, there's no way we could add these extra things. What the hell are you doing, Billboard? Why are you making things even harder than you normally do? And I just went with the A.
That's fair.
That's interesting that all three of us kind of handled that thing in three different ways. That's really cool.
Yeah.
It's not quite as cool as Jay's 10 through 6, and that's number 5, though.
I would say it's just as cool as my 10 through 6 and number 5. Yeah, so some of these are going to sound familiar. At number 10, I have Hook by Blues Traveler, best harmonica player that I can name. Spouts hilariously poignant lyrics about how the song he's singing doesn't mean anything. At number 9, I have Gangsta's Paradise, Coolio featuring LV. Far better than the movie for which it was designed. It was kind of a rare check into reality for Coolio's early career. No, like Fantastic Voyage or the other song that's on this chart, which was something 1, 2, 3, 4 nonsense songs. This one was more real. Number 8, I have Don't Cry by Seal. In a typical Seal fashion, it's a little long in the intro, but it makes up for it with like an intense uptick in the level of drama that only Seal can muster. At number 7, I have I Got Id, which also was paired with Long Road by Pearl Jam. Believe it or not, I Got It is one of my favorite Pearl Jam songs. It came out right ahead of No Code, and I was a little let down that the rest of that record didn't have this like raw Neil Youngian approach to songwriting. At number 6, this one might get some backlash just a little bit. I have Woo-Ha, Got You All in Check, Busta Rhymes. It's the song that introduced most of us to Busta, and his odd personality and his unparalleled capacity for a variety of flow. All of it laid over just the strangest beat. But I love it.
Just 2 observations. One, Dangerous Minds was a shit movie.
Yep.
But it was a far better movie than Gangsta's Paradise was a song.
Oh,
damn.
Oh, shots fired.
Yeah.
He craps on the movie, then compares it to the TV show.
Wow.
And on top of that, then this one hurt my heart. Never mind. We'll get into it later.
Oh, okay.
We'll get into it later.
Cool. I like that we get to argue on a number of things here. Very fun. Dan, comments before I get into my number 5?
No, here's the thing. Even the stuff that you're like, oh, it's going to get some pushback. Like, nah. Like, I was looking for where I had Busta here. I don't know how I blanked. Oh, yeah, 30. Like, no. Yeah.
I also appreciate that it's just Onyx in the background making random sounds the whole time.
Right? Which, again, totally fits whatever Busta was going for at that point. Like, it's fit the narrative.
Yeah. All right. Well, then I guess I'll dig into my number 5 here, which happens to be Blackstreet, featuring Dr. Dre and Queen Pen and No Diggity. It's probably the best piano part in hip hop, and it carries the song. But that incessant hum on the and for of every line, the and the playful vocal roulette and the harmonies and the well-placed rap verses from Dre and Queen Pen, it makes for a song that never leaves your head. There is not a weak link in this outfit, and the song is gorgeous.
I think for me, it suffers from overplaying a lot back in the mid-90s when it came out. I feel like, and it's biased certainly, but I feel like it was the only song on the radio for like a year and a half. And by the end of that year and a half, I was just so tired of it. But in a vacuum, yeah, it's a fun song. It's a cool song. Dr. Dre's part is good, but I mean, honestly, I know this is not a very good way to to describe a song, but it's a smooth jam. It's fun. It's danceable even in its relatively slower pace. It's still very danceable.
You're all doing the piano part in your head right now too.
Mm-hmm. That is true.
I'm actually singing "Hey oh ayo ayo ayo."
Yeah, I'd follow, but I can't right now.
No hate for that choice at all. Good stuff. Nope. Good stuff.
No.
That brings us back around to Dan and his number 4.
Dan realized he left he's going to have to fix his numbers post game because he left a song that should have been in the top 10, and I probably would have gotten some flack for it too. So we can take that one off. Oh, we can either take that one offline or we can do it later. Just remind me.
We'll do it live. Remind me.
You need to take shots at me in a little at the end, and we'll figure it out. However, for number 4, I admittedly cannot think of any way to start this off, except with a question. Tell me what you're gonna do when there ain't nowhere to run. The immediate answer, kinda, is my number 4 song of 1996. It's The Crossroads, Bone Thugs and Harmony. Maybe one of these days I'll put like 2 and 2 together and stop trying to walk these re-rack songs up like the failed DJ that I am. But today is not that day. Beside this being a tremendous reflection on both grief and remembrance, it's got one of the most unique sounds of the decade. It is the perfect combination of that tribute and tight production. And we said so much more about this song and album and this group's discography, which you should check out. And I know it is buried in our feed on Spotify that you can go back and listen to as it is still part of what's up there as part of our Spotify exclusivity, or hang with us for a few weeks when we'll have a remastered version of our deep dive on Bone Thugs that will be in this very feed across all of your major podcast providers. That is a song, a plug, and a tease. Triple promo score, bitches!
So what's that, like 1 point now?
Triple.
Yeah.
A third.
I don't know about y'all, but I'm still pissed off at Ms. Sleazy.
Right? How she set up Easy to Fall.
In damn near 30 years, still pissed off at Ms. Sleazy, man. God damn. Yeah, I mean, it's no surprise. We're 3 Ohio boys, so we certainly, give Bone their propers at every possible turn. Yeah, nothing more to say that Dan didn't already say. This is a fabulous jam.
Love it. What are you calling a fabulous jam at your number 4? Or do you have a different description?
Fabulous, absolutely. Jam, not so much. I know you mentioned the music video to The World I Know, highly recommended. This is not that, but if you do want an absolute journey of a music video, then hop over to YouTube and find the music video for my number 4 song, which is It's All Coming Back to Me Now. But not the Celine Dion version, mind you, for the music video, but the original performed by the pop group Pandora's Box and produced by Bat Out of Hell producer and doer of a million other music-y things, Jim Steinman. Steinman also recited that utterly ridiculous monologue that you hear at the beginning, which I'm not certain has any bearing on the actual song or really anything in particular, but it's a thing that happened and y'all should experience it. But regardless of any of that, the Celine Dion track is technically a cover, but it improves on the original in that very important thing that happens when Celine Dion is on a track, which is to say that it becomes downright magical. She alternates by taking the song into the stratosphere, jumping from cloud to cloud before coming down to float on the most serene lake that you could possibly think of during the chorus, with not a landmass or even a ripple in sight for miles and miles. It's All Coming Back to Me Now is one of the best and most emotional songs about longing for a lost love that you'll find anywhere. And thanks to Celine Dion's otherworldly vocals, it was given a power and a nuance that few artists could ever hope to attain. No offense to Pandora's Box, but I'm sorry, you are just simply not Celine Dion. Today, on a slightly more serious note, not slightly, on a very more serious note, Celine continues to battle stiff person syndrome, or SPS, which she was announced that she was diagnosed with in late 2022. She does have a documentary talking about her life and struggles with the rare disease coming out on June 25th on Amazon Prime Video, if anyone is interested in checking that out. And hopefully for all of us, we will see her back in the studio and or on stage very, very soon.
I've never heard of that. I might watch the documentary just so that I can learn what that is.
It's apparently like legitimately super, super rare. I think it affects your motor abilities, things of that nature. It sounds awful. It truly sounds awful. I feel for anyone who's experienced it, obviously, Celine, and you know, a small number of unfortunate others.
Yikes.
Yeah, unexpected downer, but I felt that was important to say since it is, you know, a very important part of her story.
Yeah, weirdly enough, that almost segues into my number 4 song.
By all means.
Go for it. As I say, as soon as we went through that, I was like, well, I have no notes now. I'm not going to make any meatloaf jokes.
Yeah, I have Celine Dion at number 43, but that's not the point anymore. Rare illness is a thing that segues neatly into my number 4, because my number 4 song, that, believe it or not, that's a good segue. My number 4 song is Wonder by Natalie Merchant. I honestly can't explain my love for this song. It kind of comes across as weirdly self-aggrandizing for pop rock, but it's not. It's actually about a pair of twins born with epidermolysis bullosa, which is a congenital skin disease. But regardless, I am drawn to Natalie Merchant's easy, almost lazy, soft palette voice and the often overlooked guitar part that solos nearly through the entire song. Like you can listen to the song twice and one time focus on Natalie's voice, which is effortless and beautiful and just wonderful thing to zone out to, or you can listen to it again and focus on the guitar part, which doesn't quit. It's a little hard to focus on that one, mind you, because Natalie's voice is so good, but love the song.
And apparently, which I didn't realize, the song had inspired a book, a novel, I believe it was, also called Wonder, from about 10 years ago, back in 2012.
That song was the inspiration for that?
At least the name, I don't know exactly, because it looks like the story itself is not entirely the same. It does look like there's maybe some sort of illness or disease that's happening in the book as well. I honestly didn't read it or do a ton of research, so I couldn't tell you its particulars. But
yeah, I know
at least one place I saw there was a link between the book and the song.
The only thing I know about it is it's young adult fiction. Other than that, I don't really know about. Yeah, I didn't know that was related at all. Cool.
Yeah, RJ Palacio, you know. If anyone is curious and picking that one up.
Yeah, the more you know. Bum 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 bum.
Well, I know we had talked about, and I wish I could remember what podcast it was. Otherwise, I would mention it. But I know we talked specifically about Natalie Merchant before, fairly recently, and just like you said, the vocals, the voice, just effortless, just ethereal, beautiful, wonderful. Not enough good things to say about it.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd call it ethereal, but everything else you said was right.
Scratch that one from the record. We'll take that one out in post.
Overruled.
As to be expected.
Segue to Dan.
Yes, Dan.
I'm going to go ahead and get this through quickly, I suppose. I did mention earlier that there were a lot of ballads in 96 of different shapes and such. Like a lot, though. Seemingly more than you would expect. But I also feel like we say that every time we do a year in the 90s. It's almost as the 90s really wasn't the decade brought to you by grunge and boy bands, but truly the Quiet Storm. On the river. I don't think it was the real jingle, so they can't sue me.
That was beautiful.
So it's as creative as this shit gets. So let's take our last two songs, smash them together, amp them way up, double infuse the star power, and we've got the number 3 hit song of 1996, One Sweet Day from Mariah Carey and Boyz II Men. And I know y'all did not have this the song this high either. That's fine. But there was also no way that I wasn't going to get a track involving Boyz II Men this high on my list. A track that is just layers upon layers upon layers in this one. And normally I feel like if you find a line and keep trying to push it out and out and out, you're going to find the point where it falls off the cliff. But for whatever reason, that never seems to happen in this song. I mean, you get Mariah's at the very end of that last chorus. It just doesn't seem like she can go any harder, and yet she's still belting and finds another octave to hit in the middle of that.
It's one of those songs that, like as you're listening to it in the moment, you kind of hear it. And it's not even a thing of like, this is a good song or this is a bad song, but it's one of those that, like, this is a song we're going to talk about for a very, very long time.
Yeah.
And we have. I mean, it certainly has endured the test of the Billboard charts. It certainly has endured the test of time too.
Yeah, I wrote one. I already mentioned I have it at 18, and I wrote a note on there that just says, despite there's like 5 people on this track, it's mostly the Mariah and Wanye show, like duking it out in the form of a high school slow dance.
Right.
Ooh, I really like that imagery, dude.
It's
that
a
was nice.
great way to describe it.
Thanks.
3 guys we're here too. It's fine.
Right.
Don't worry about us. We'll be at craft services. We're good.
Yeah, swim back on the chorus, but pick us up.
They laid down that more than solid groundwork for the other two to just lose their shit.
Man. And did they ever?
If I may sidebar for just a quick second, which needs only like a little bit of explanation. And then at some point in the recent past, Jay and I were trying to put a group together to do an April Fool's show. So they're trying to get 4 of us to get together to actually learn Boys to Men songs, and so we can do an April Fool's show. And I forget which song it was. It wasn't One Sweet Day. We didn't have a female vocalist. I forget which song it was that you were describing as we're talking about, okay, well, you've got the tenor 2 on this one, and I can handle that. Like you've got baritone. Okay, cool. And this is where you guys are kind of hang. And then, because if I'm Wanya, I'm just going to lose my shit over here for the last like 3 choruses. I'm like, okay, deal. Step to the front of the stage when you do it.
That may have been, again, continuing the sidebar, but that may have been I'll Make Love to You. I know at one point, I believe it was that song where I told you just need to turn and grab me by the shoulders and start shaking me because that's what my voice is going to sound like anyway.
Yes. Yes, and we were going to have our bass like jump off stage and run across the bar so we could randomly walk through the crowd to do the spoken word in the middle of the song. But like he was going to be up there the entire time and then book it to the side of the bar. Yep. So you could come through the whatever little crowd would assemble so we could do that.
All right, so now we have to do this.
This is going to be
we have to revisit this idea. I don't know if I can pull. I don't know that I was ever able to actually pull it off, but it will be a struggle now.
That's the point. I mean,
that makes it better. Yeah.
We're also going to need to find 2 other people.
Yeah.
Maybe 3.
we need a line change at some point.
I gotta tag out.
Hey, it's one thing I'm good at is my line changes, okay?
That baritone just takes it out of you.
It's all right. I need a baritone 1 and a baritone 2. No, motherfucker, those 4 notes are yours. These 4 are mine.
That must happen. It would be too good.
Oh my God.
Something to watch out for on the Fairly KickAss TikTok.
Oh my God. No. If that ends up being our first stream event.
Oh yes.
Look, we've made mention of these a couple times, and I'm still hoping the rest of you forgot what we were supposed to do, so I don't have to actually do these things.
Yeah.
Good.
I forgot.
I know. That's why I'm kind of glad I'm never going to get called out on this bullshit.
I have intentionally forgotten everything we've said.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
I mean,
it's the best way to go through life.
It's kind of a coping mechanism. Yeah.
Yeah. You get it.
But you know what? You probably also use a coping mechanism is Zach's number 3 song.
Holy shit. Possibly true, depending on what you're coping from. I could see it, though. So I'm going to start with a review not my review, but a review of this song from a music publication, specifically a British music magazine, Melody Maker, which back in 96 was enjoying its 70th year in publication, which is absolutely wild to me that a magazine about music existed for 70 years and started as early as, I think, 1926, if I did my math right. The magazine would go on to close its doors in late 2000, unfortunately, along with all those shit.com companies that you remember, RIP Pets.com, and the others. But not before this review from Victoria Siegel, which goes a little something like this, where she says, vocoders, in all caps, by the way, the squelchiest synths, slippery background harmonies, shake it, baby. You are in a disco dotted with palm trees, smothered in Graceland-style soft furnishings, and dancing with the coked-out Ray Liotta, looking like hell at the end of Goodfellas. That is California love. Boy, is it ever, Victoria. Boy, is it ever. A passionate ode to the state from two dudes who are very much revered all the way from Diego to the Bay. The smoothness of Dr. Dre paired with the fierce delivery from Tupac, all sprinkled with the dusting of that special Roger Troutman seasoning that he had been perfecting with his brothers in the Zap Band from back in the 1970s. The most iconic hip-hop song of the 1990s. And as we talked about before, since we were kind of on the topic of music videos, just the note was just Mad Max. Just do Mad Max. And they did Mad Max, and it was absolutely glorious.
Agreed.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, like, there's not a whole, what else can you, like, that the review is so perfect, actually, and I think about it.
Yeah.
I just keep thinking of a reference I may have just deleted about, well, there's a reason that even all these years now, you just put it on and almost everybody knows that entire first verse. Just without prompting, everyone in the room will just jump in. You can't not. You can't not do it.
It's ingrained at this point into the collective memories of folks who were, growing up and even grown folks who were alive for that period of time. Like you just knew, you just gravitated towards it. It was never something we had to work to memorize. You just know.
Yeah, I have it at 25 and I don't really know how it wound up there.
Ooh, too high, too low?
Too low.
Oh, okay.
I don't know what happened. That's an interesting. I'll have to revisit my scoring, but I have it at 25. Not a bad showing either way. Just
no. 100 songs, give or take. I mean, we're bound to rank stuff and then wake up the next day and think like, why did we put this there? This was wrong. This was a mistake.
Yeah,
do that nearly constantly when I'm writing.
I know, right? It's a hard process. I will tell you what is a very easy process, though, and that is listening to Jay's number 3.
Yeah. Not an easy process coming up with what wound up here on the chart, though. It doesn't really matter which of the two songs that made the chart that we're talking about, but I am going to focus on 1B, which is You Oughta Know by Alanis Morissette. She made the jump from Canadian mall pop, a la Robin Sparkles, to post-grunge pop goddess in a truly undeniable way with Jagged Little Pill. The music on You Oughta Know is slanted and harsh, but almost invisible in the song, except for that bass that is shoved directly into your face by Flea. Her voice is also harsh, but it gives life to that anger, pain, and defiance that the song exudes. And because of that, it is one of the most powerful songs of the year.
Did we ever do an episode of Misheard Lyrics? I don't remember.
I don't think so.
I don't think so, but it should be on the list.
It absolutely would be on my list. Because up through a embarrassing portion of my adult life, I kept wondering why poor Alanis Morissette was gifted a cross-eyed bear from someone. And I just always thought that's a really cruel gift to give to someone.
That's okay. Yep. That's definitely got to be in your top 3 whenever we do that as a top 5.
For sure.
Oh man,
for sure. That was one of my crowning moments. Anyway,
I was gonna say, and the I don't know, the power of the song is not diminished by the fact that it's about Dave Coulier.
Not in the least. No.
The thing is it's also one of those where you can just kind of put out of your mind, despite the details that she goes into, you just put out of your mind. You can just cut those out and move on and focus on the actual song itself.
Yeah.
That was a really long setup. Sorry.
It's all right.
We got there.
Do you need a long setup for your number 2 song?
I don't. Because I'm gonna swing the pendulum around 360 degrees.
Nope.
Yep. That's you can argue with Gorilla, but you're going to lose. Instead, let me draw attention to something. Because at first glance, the combination of the main and featured artists don't necessarily add up together if all you're thinking of is a pop chart context, which is fine. You start with what was their biggest mainstream hit, and you're like, there's no way they should be working together. This does not work. But that doesn't matter because Literal Gold is what they made on the number 2 track of the year. It's Tupac joined by Casey and JoJo on How Do You Want It? And I guess, there was this little song on the other side. Zach talked about it for a little bit. It was all right. You may have heard about it, though. This one, though, driven by one of Pac's catchiest hooks. It's a solid come-up track, but it came from Tupac, so it's going to be leaps and bounds ahead of what your average MC is going to put out. The work that he's doing by changing up his flow multiple times on this game-changing track itself, as it's truly one of the hardest G-Funk tracks of the era. And like I said, there's a B-side. All of the quotation marks around B-side as well. And Zach got you there a few minutes with California Love.
Yeah, I mean, as much as I love California Love, like How Do You Want It is every bit as great of a track, I feel like. And is certainly like you mentioned Casey and JoJo. I don't think they get enough credit for that hook. I really don't. Because that's a fire ass hook. Nothing against Tupac, because he certainly does his thing in spades as well.
Right.
Yeah.
But like that's the like I said, that's the catchy part that sticks in your brain. And then Pac comes in and you're like, oh shit. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
He just goes for it. I mean, just the ferocity of his, no matter what he's rapping about, there's no low gear. Like he's in fifth every single track. Well, there were a few exceptions.
Well, but here's the thing, and you could argue even when he's working on the quote unquote softer side, he's still in fifth gear, just at a different tempo. I don't know how else to put it.
Yeah, that's true. Because like even something like Dear Mama, like still goes pretty hard.
Yeah, like the intensity's still there. Wow, there's some really big words here that I'm trying to find in my brain to complement intensity without. Nope, it derailed. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to give you another example in Life Goes On, which is also same kind of deal, like not softer in terms of ferocity, but softer in terms of pace. It's slower, but Pac still brings it. Yeah, good choice. I don't think I would say anything bad about a Tupac song, no matter what it is, but this one is certainly one of the better choices in the catalog.
Truth.
I guess I should give my choice from my catalog.
I was going to say, something, you're number 2.
So at number 2 on my list is a song that makes you think and happens to be one of, if not the best karaoke songs on the entire list. In fact, it's a song that asks the listener to tell about all their thoughts on God. No, not that one. Not that one. I mean, the other one. It's John Osborne's One of Us. A beautiful track that slots in as a sort of upbeat ballad, or if you prefer, a more subdued pop rock jam, but it never gets lost in the shuffle between the two. Osborne's voice is front and center here, and I readily admit that I am a huge mark for John Osborne as a whole, so this one maybe got a couple of extra notches because of that, but I ain't mad at it. It tackles the, I guess, potentially revelatory subject for 1996. It is a song about religion that isn't an explicitly Christian song, which was something that it still very rarely happens. It absolutely didn't happen in 1996. And if it did, it certainly didn't make the Billboard Hot 100, but Joan Osborne defied all of that and decided to give us a song for the ages.
You'd have hit my list better with the Dishwalla.
I figured. And my list would have been wrong if I did.
No, I have it at 11, but I have Joan Osborne at 65.
Okay. I guess I split the middle to a certain extent because there's no way to separate these two songs meant in my brain. So that's why they're 17 and 18 back to back. But it's Dishwalla at 17 and Joan Osborne at 18. And nothing against it. Like everything you said about the duality that you're working with there as well. And they kind of fits into two different things, even changing in the middle of it to a certain extent. Like it's one of those, it's a weird thing. I can't remember where I read it a long time ago that there's that old adage that there's two things you never talk about. It's politics and religion. And yet this song found a way to slide both of them in there and you didn't even see it coming. Like there's statements on to some level on both of those. And you didn't, like, obviously I talk religion that talks about a God, but like there isn't a stance that's blatantly obvious. So if she's making one, it's subtle enough you didn't get it. Now watch, I'm sure I'll go find a think piece in 5 minutes and it'll explain everything that I just said and how everything I just said was wrong, because that happens a lot.
Honestly, my problem with the whole song is that it showed like a distinct Amy Grant flavor, and particularly in that pre-chorus, that yeah, like it's just not, that wasn't for me.
That was nice.
I thought so.
And I think, Dan, you, at least for me, you hit the nail on the head that there's an ambiguity to it. It's not, so much religious music is very, I'm trying to think about a diplomatic way to say this. It's very much geared towards the celebration and the love and adoration of the religion that's being spoken about. And this ain't that song.
No. Although I thought you were going to go with a different route where contemporary Christian rock and how much it tends to suck.
Scott Stapp, if you're listening to the podcast, we appreciate your patronage. Don't listen to anything Dan says.
He'll tell you he never did contemporary Christian music.
I've heard it before. I still don't believe it.
He's not new song.
I turned down an opportunity to open for him.
Stapp?
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Oh, his solo shit?
Yep.
You turned down an opportunity. Oh, I know exactly the show you're talking about too.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I'll have to. I'm very excited to hear about that at some point in the future.
It's not a great story. Just.
Oh, I know it's not.
No, I mean, I think you kind of told the story, honestly, but
probably.
Oh no, I was stalling because you made a point, and I was going to respond to it, and then I had to get the other thing out. But when you brought up that chorus, I don't know if Amy Grant's the right comparison. At least in my head, Amy Grant was the right comparison for it. I know seems a little. It seems poppy, but it's less every heartbeat and felt more like it come to my window. Like it was very Melissa Etheridge in my brain, vocally at least,
but less aggressive. I think is where I was like. It was the saccharine quality of the voice is what came out.
It's fair.
Like Melissa Etheridge after a melatonin tab.
Yeah, just as chill as she's been, just sitting in the backyard,
Fair enough.
Fuck am I doing?
Jay, save us again, please.
I don't know how. I'm just gonna. We'll switch channels on the vocal train here. That was not a thing. That.
Thank you.
Oh my god. Let's go from the sweet, somewhat lilting, sometimes out of key Joan Osborne to the ultra powerful, never out of key Mariah Carey. My number 2 song is Fantasy. This is still in the part of her career where she could effortlessly meld that, like, her raw sexuality with the powerful voice. The song is almost entirely vamped vocal runs over an iconic shoo-doo-doo chorus line. Basically, the song is Mariah showing off everything that she can do. Every aspect of her voice, every aspect of her songwriting. It's a beautiful song.
Yeah, I've got nothing bad at all to say about Fantasy. It was 18 for me.
11.
Beauty.
No notes. Excellent
None.
choice.
I got one.
You did it.
Yay.
And now we have to do it.
Yeah, I was just going to say, and
Yeah,
now we're going to step in it.
Yeah.
So should we switch up the order a bit just to make sure that that Dan can have his moment at the bottom of the bottom?
Sure.
Go ahead.
Okay.
Unless he wants to go first.
I mean, just because I'll take up more time, you guys go ahead and get it out of the way.
Okay. Then I will jump down to my number as I'm stalling because I'm scrolling through my spreadsheet. My number 101. Because again, we couldn't have just 100 songs. We couldn't do that, could we, Billboard? That's just too easy. Could we, R. Kelly? So at 101 is Quad City DJs, Come On and Ride It, in parentheses, The Train. You ever wonder what the Quad Cities are? Well, let me tell you what the Quad Cities are. They're Jacksonville, Florida. Nope, that's actually it, because quad is apparently a regional term for bass. And that quickly, I told all of you something way more exciting than Come On and Ride It actually is. Number 102, Coolio with 1, 2, 3, 4, Sumpin' New. Sumpin' New. Part proclamation that the song they released like 18 months prior is no longer who he is as an artist. Part counting exhibition, part other exhibition. Ugh. Coolio tries to be tough while spinning the most nursery of rhymes, and it doesn't work in either direction for him.
That was a wonderful write-up.
Thank you.
I loved that.
It's only going to go downhill from here. So.
The most nursery of rhymes. Cool.
But I ask you, what do you do when you want to get up and get down? Want to get up and get down?
I thought maybe it would have like a little bit more gravitas if it was spoken word, but I think it was worse somehow.
Nope.
Now do it in a Ben
played.
Shapiro voice.
What would you do?
Yep, that's worse.
Nope, that doesn't work, does it? Is it? Am I don't even know if I'm close. I thankfully
no.
put this voice out of my head.
Oh, no. He's already dead. Oh, no.
The pussy is not supposed to be that wet.
Oh my god.
Can I go home now? Someone should be here with a hook.
That's Nikki's job.
Yeah.
Just drag me out the door.
Luckily, we're at the bottom already because otherwise we'd be there no matter what. Oh, shit. Where was I? Number 103, Meryl Bainbridge with Mouth. Not even Marvin McFadden wanted to be associated with that awful track. It is a literal oral history and not what I want when I turn on my radio. I'll go to Wikipedia for that, or if I'm back in 1996, I'll read a book. Oh, the worst possible thing that I could do. I'd rather listen to Mouth than read a book. Jesus Christ.
I have Mouth at 57. I just wrote, is the song good? No. Is her voice good? Also no. That piano hook, though.
Literally, I have it at 45, and what I wrote was points for having a unique sound.
It certainly had a unique sound. I will give them that. At number 104 is Planet Soul with Set You Free. So there's something vaguely techno happening in this track. There, I think, are lyrics, although I'm not certain due to how quiet they are compared to the awful din permeating the track, alternating between an automaton and something I can only describe as rhythmic zipping.
I called it a little bit too Fatboy Slim meets Suzanne Vega.
Ooh, I like that too. That's very on the nose.
Oh, man. So much better what I wrote.
I'm deleting my whole shit.
Nope,
my
you're
whole
good.
spreadsheet gone. Oh, God. So no matter how bad those tracks are, they cannot be as bad as the bottom of my barrel, number 105 of 105. So I knew when I first glanced at this list, guys, that this song was going to take my last slot. It was going to take heaven and earth to move it even a couple of slots up. That ranking at the very bottom was reinforced when I discovered that the song was actually a remix, which I didn't realize. Granted, the original, which was also on this Hot 100 list, did not rate terribly high for me. It slotted in at number 79. But if I'm comparing the two, it's like Luciano Pavarotti versus, well, me. It's an unfair fight, to be sure, and the Bayside Boys mix of Macarena by Los Del Rio was an unfair listen all the way around. All of the fantastic songs on the list, including one that stayed on number one for 16 weeks, of course, being One Sweet Day by Mariah Carey, and Boyz II Men, which we've already sung the praises of in this episode. And this song right here, this was the best you could do, America. This was number one on the year-end Hot 100 chart for 1996. Granted, this track was also on top of the Billboard Hot 100 for 14 weeks, further questioning my faith in the music listeners in this country 30 years ago. I mean, Christ, I want to have been in the room when they decided to get rid of the few good parts of the original, being the traditional instruments, the Spanish lyrics and vocals in the verses, and replace them with the contents of an easy bake oven filled with Play-Doh and regret. Now, I can't at all blame the vocalist on the remix, Patty Alfaro. She accepted the assignment as written, and she knocked it out of the park. It's not her fault that the park in question was that one park with the giant pit from Parks and Recreation. Annoying, grating, infuriating, and most upsetting of all, still very, very danceable. Macarena is more than deserving of the bottom slot of my re-rank list.
I put it at 76 with the unremixed version at 75. So I agreed with you that it was better.
Right, here's it. Do you know the story of that song too? Which hopefully would crush its danceability for a lot of people. A lot of people. Some people won't give a shit.
No, tell us.
Macarena's the girl's name. Her boyfriend goes into the army and she fucks two of his friends. The more you know.
Bum, 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 bum.
And now y'all don't even have to watch the movie.
Nope, not
Saved
well.
you 2.5 hours. God, where do we go after that?
I think we go to my bottom five.
I think we have to.
Oh, man. I'm not even 100% on my bottom five. And the reason for it is I find joy in even the bad songs on this list for the most part. Simply from a nostalgia sake. So my number 96, because I did a straight 100. My number 96 is Doing It by LL Cool J. It's a sex positive tune about two lovers who are uncomfortably hot for each other in a very public way. There's nothing creepy or alarming here. I just cannot stand the chorus. That's it. At number 97, I put The Earth, the Sun, and the Rain by Color Me Bad. It is sappy adult contemporary with reductive paint-by-number lyrics. The only way this song can be redeemed is if I learn that it's actually about like a tablet of ecstasy, because then I can get behind it. At number 98, might get some pushback for this one, maybe, is Get Money by Junior Mafia and Biggie. This track is just awkward. The beat is off-putting, but no more so than the lyrics. Biggie spends his time complaining that someone has accused him of sexual assault, and Lil' Kim takes her verse to aggressively throw some sexual weight around. It's quite a juxtaposition. And if Biggie had just had his normal Big Papa attitude, the song might have worked. But in its current form, it's just hard to listen to.
It is also weird that this is attributed to Junior Mafia when it's literally just Lil' Kim and Biggie. Like none of the rest of them showed up. It's like the other members of Boyz II Men.
Right. Well, don't dig that. I love Biggie. Don't dig that song.
Okay, I'm glad I'm not the only one. Just there was like, it's 86 because it just didn't feel right.
Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah.
At number 99 is where I am. I have As I Lay Me Down by Sophie B. Hawkins.
There it is.
Sappy adult contemporary with very little substance, no effort, and a background chorus of wannabe Enigma fans chanting Ula Kako through the entire goddamn song. It's 4 minutes long, which is 2 minutes too many.
That hook is so hot, though. Ula Kako. You did better than me. I didn't even know what the hell they were saying.
I was assuming that there were actual words, not just nonsense syllables.
Nope.
That I just couldn't make out.
Nope. It's some return to innocence bullshit in the back. Like it's not real.
Man, Enigma over here catching strays. It ain't right, man.
Yeah. I had a thought in my head and I ran with it. But because I didn't take the same route with eliminating songs from my list that you did, my number 100 song has to go to You Remind Me of Something by R. Kelly. Listen, if we needed it, we really didn't need another reason to question R. Kelly's sexual proclivities. But let me paraphrase You Remind Me of Something. Gee, girl, you remind me of something that I want to have sex with. My car. You look just like my car. Don't be alarmed. I'm going to come through your door and get inside you, you know, like I do with my Jeep. That's the fucking song. You look like my car. So I want to have sex with you.
Yeah.
It's not even one of his smoother songs, too, where you have to like war in your head about whether or not it's okay to listen to it because you want to. This song is shit. There is nothing redeeming in this song at all. It might be the worst song in his catalog, which is saying something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because he did like those 412 Trapped in the Closet shits. Like, and this is somehow worse than all of them.
Agreed.
At one point, I tried to follow the story of those. There was a lot involved.
There was.
Yeah.
I mean, I joke, but weren't there like over like 30 or 40 of them total?
Something like that. Right. Like we gave up after 1 through 5, but he kept going. Like he had a novel that he needed the world to hear.
But at any point in that, did he fuck a Jeep?
I don't believe so.
Undetermined.
I'm pretty sure he didn't. So objectively, a better novella.
Yeah, I honest to goodness did not remember the lyrics to this. Like I vaguely remembered having heard it back then, but I wasn't a fan of it at the time. And then when I listened to it this time, I was like, what the hell is he talking about right now? So I actually listened to it twice because, well, I know, but I actually had fun listening to it because I was paying attention to the lyrics and I got to, you know, do my little summary of the song there, which it made me happy. The song didn't. Making fun of it did.
That's okay. Fair.
I do have to say, too, that like the fact that the song is called You Remind Me of Something, not You Remind Me of My Jeep, is telling because he is basically saying, like, I don't want people to know that this song is about me fucking my car. I want them to lean into it. And then when they've already listened and I've got the spin, then they can know that I fucking
right. He fucking knew. He
motherfucker knew.
It is like the first line of the song, though.
He's already got the spin. Like, he's just flexing at that point.
And he wasn't like, he didn't have, like, at least Roger Taylor came out and said, it was in the title, I'm in love with my car. But he didn't once want to sing in the process of that about banging the car. It was supposed to be the other way around. And the metaphor wasn't the car reminded him of the girl, not the girl reminded him of the car. And he got to read that wrong. Like you were backwards that way.
Yeah, that's like 101. Like, I'm not here to yuck anyone's yums. Let me say that.
Nope,
right
we
now.
can yuck R. Kelly's yums. That is
okay. Well, we are here to yuck his
100%.
yums specifically. No one else.
But generally, I would think that we could probably agree without many doubts. Banging your automobile, probably bad. I mean, logistically, there's a lot of moving parts. You put 2 and 2 together.
It's just like he didn't waste any time getting into it on the song either. Like it's like the spoken intro that like he starts it off with that like, you remind me of something. I just can't think of what it is. You remind me of my Jeep. I want to ride it. Like,
yeah, like immediate. Like there's no subtlety. There's no lead in. Like, let's just get down to it.
Oh.
If it was anybody else with that song, you might respect the boldness, but
nope, still wouldn't. It just.
I said might.
Is he recruiting his Jeep for Nexium? Is that what's happening next?
Well, it was fun doing the podcast with y'all while it lasted.
Yep.
Got any Scientology jokes you want to slap on top of that too?
I mean, if I tried hard enough.
Yeah, don't tempt him.
Please don't.
So we go from my bottom to Jay's bottom, and we land on Dan's bottom. Dan, the floor is yours for the bottom of your barrel picks. And wow, that was a thing.
That was not anyway. Not the worst way I've been introduced on this show, but
You're not wrong.
I guess I'll take it. But like I said, I usually do more because y'all expect me to hate.
Mm-hmm.
But it's pretty easy, some of these. So I give my full 10. But remember, my list is altered, so I'll start at number 88, and I'll start with Anything by 3T, because it's like someone bought All for One from Wish. Hey, we talked about this and took two different interpretations of number 89 song, which is LL Cool J and Doing It. I never bought LL Cool J pulling off the sensual, and he so doesn't do it here. Nope. It's like the caricature of pillow talk that we write into frat comedies when the nerd finally gets to third base for the first time. Oh, gee, wow, there's nothing left for but us to climax. Like, fucking, like, did you write a sex song without knowing what sex is? I think that's what that indicated to me, at least.
Yeah, you're not. I had it a little bit higher than y'all. I had it at 61, but I don't like it at 61.
Still doesn't have to be. You have the freedom.
161.
All right, number 90. Sophie B. Hawkins has Lay Me Down. It is a sickeningly syrupy love song. Not really bad, but an ear that's full of emotional outpouring. This really doesn't get you very far, and I put it here when I thought it was just a love song, not a touching tribute to a fallen parent. Fuck me.
Sorry.
At number 91, it's Amber and This Is Your Night, because this is the most generic Eurodance in a year with more than its fair share of generic Eurodance. But at the same time, just look to the LaBouche tracks in this chart and how to do it right. Those songs just come in like a freight train and they make you dance. This one just sends you back to the rail.
Agreed. Yeah, you have no choice when that LaBouche hits.
Yeah, seriously.
I have that right there with Planet Soul.
Yeah. Nice. At number 92, number 1, Los Del Rio and Macarena. It was an all Bayside Boys 3-way. That was a joke for one person. Joke for one person.
Oh, well done. Well played.
Thank you. I'm surprised we didn't hear anything from number 93. Crisscross and Tonight's the Night. You know what I had said a couple of songs ago about adults using language that they are ill-equipped for? There you go. Now that they were 17, it was time for Crisscross to get mature, and they swung. And missed so hard you'd have thought they were Reggie Jackson at the plate in any month not named October.
Yeah, I didn't know if that was just me picking up on that kind of sentiment, but I'm glad that it's not, because I kind of thought the same thing. Like, it was such a quick departure from Jump, such a jump, for lack of a better term, from that version of Crisscross to the Crisscross that's pouring you a glass of Cristal with candles over a tablecloth.
Yeah.
To me, it tracked. It's still not good. I have it 81, but it tracked with the thing of them making Cameo on Boy Meets World, and like it's such a weak sauce. That's not a knock on Boy Meets World. I loved Boy Meets World, but
no, that's a knock on Crisscross. I understand. Yeah. I was with you. You're fine.
Yeah, I was trying to remember that episode. I must have missed that one.
I believe one of them shows up when they're like on a subway train, like heading to a New Year's party or something.
Oh, nice.
I'm trying to remember.
Time for a rewatch.
Yeah.
But we digress, Dan.
Continue.
I got nothing. I got no way to bring it back, so I was waiting until someone said something.
Yeah.
There was no way to sweep back in that one. Conflicted about number 94 a little bit, because it's New Edition and hit me off, because the production is actually pretty tight and groovy here. It's just too bad that it was New Edition performing on it, who at this point were so far behind Boyz II Men in the R&B group hierarchy. They were looking up from like 3 states away. The song is saved by the beat because everything else the group is doing is so paint by numbers. It may as well be R&B brought to you by Michaels. Not Hobby Lobby. Hobby Lobby doesn't sell kits this funky. Fuck those guys. Look, everybody.
Hobby Lobby.
That's what I'm saying. Look, everybody was doing this sound within these certain parameters at this certain point in time. So when your single is so blatantly a vocal and lyrical checklist, it's going to hold up as well as a sheet of paper in a tornado.
I don't know. I have a disagreement. I mean, I love New Jack Swing. Like that's my jam. Probably my favorite R&B subgenre.
Sure. It just, like I said, when not performed well, song's not good. Production's great, though.
We talk about, I'm sure we're all guilty of grading on a curve sometimes. And yeah, you're right. Boys to Men is the curve here.
Yes.
And that's kind of unfair because I do wonder if maybe even I rank this track a little higher or maybe a couple of others on this list, if not for Boys to Men's absolute dominance over 90s R&B. But yeah, you're going to look at them as the gold standard and everything else just doesn't measure up.
I say like I have it at 29. And that is because it's basically Belle Biv DeVoe with a little bit of Gil and a little too much Bobby Brown.
Yeah.
Just need another bad creation to complete the set.
Oh.
Right.
We were talking about that earlier because someone was actually afraid that they would be misrepresented when she said ABC, not Another Bad Creation, but the British group. I'm like, I've never heard anyone mistake them despite this very similar names.
Never, ever. There is but one.
The only time I've heard Another Bad Creation referred to as ABC was by Boys to Men.
In Motown, Philly.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. Back again. And we're back again with the rest of Dance.
I can't even set my own self up for this. It's not even good. But Jay will be happy because at number 95 comes Planet Soul and Set You Free. So remember like 30 seconds ago when I complained about sticking too close to a formula? Maybe this song deserves a little bit of credit for not doing that, but at the same time, you can totally go from too much structure to none whatsoever. That's what this song does. First, spamming the shit out of the echo chamber wears thin quickly. Like add in a thin as hell bass line that only gets thinner when it keeps getting pushed through filter after filter, and you've got yourself a headache. Then the vocals are in a key. Actually, a couple of them at the same time, and they feel like they definitely weren't written down ahead of time. Just the phrase Planet Soul, and then the vocal is just vamped for 4 bloody minutes. It finally comes together as something recognizable as a dance track, but does so with like 30 seconds left to go, which is way too late to feign competency. It's just an absolute mess of a song.
Yeah, I will say that the last minute or 30 seconds, however long, when that beat changes, like that second beat is kind of tight.
Right. Like, why didn't you use that?
The whole
damn song. I don't know if it makes it necessarily better, but it's better than what you put on the record.
Yeah, leaps and bounds.
When you've added so many filters that are badly manipulated onto the track that the word free in the chorus sounds like murr. Like, I don't know what they were thinking.
Spinning image.
I mean, you think we're kidding, but when you go back and listen to it on the playlist that's in the post here on fairlykickass.com, and you'll see he's not wrong.
Oh, it's a nightmare of a track. But it gets worse.
But it still gets worse. I still got 2 to go because the penultimate song on my list is Overcompensation the Musical. Can your girl group not harmonize? We got you, fam. Do you not know how to piece together a beat? We can cover that. We're the team that put together totals no one else, and we make crap. Look, the first thing I'll notice is the synth scratches or stabs or whatever these things are that just like dominate the entire track and drown out a lot of the vocals, which maybe not a bad thing, but just generally kill the song. Like, DeBrat cannot save the song. DeBrat is also drowned out by the production. If there's anything that the song benefits from, it is the overproduction because it does hide the general cesspool that are Toto's vocals. But hey, at least it's not over 5 minutes long. So you got that going for you, which is something.
It's the little things.
I think it's funny the way you worded that, because I have it at 74 with the note, Debrat is saving this right now.
Yeah, I was down there too. 89 for me, right above the incorrectly ranked. Give me one reason. No one else was not incorrectly ranked. I had nothing going on at that point. That was absolutely accurate.
I'm more impressed that you could make out Debrat through the production to tell whether or not she was saving the song.
If I'm being honest, I was following along with the lyrics, like written down in front of me. So like I had something to focus on.
Yes, well, but that mess, not enough to claim the bottom of the list. So I wrote something down immediately when I listened to this song, because it was one of the few songs on this list that I don't think I'd ever heard until this week. Like I somehow missed this one completely. And all I wrote was, the longer the song goes, the worse it gets. And it goes for 5 minutes and 10 soul-crushing seconds. What got that sort of reaction? It is the worst song of 1996. It's Ghost Town DJs and My Boo. Lyrics? Well, there aren't many, so you'll hear the hook quite a bit. Vocals? Everything feels flat as hell, and that is coming from someone who routinely can't figure out whether to be sharp or flat on like every vocal line. All of them. I'm really good at that. And then annoyingly, as I mentioned before, it doesn't end. It goes on and on and on and on and on. And you want it to end. You want that relief. You can hear a natural place where there's been enough of this track, and it should fade out. But it doesn't. It doesn't take the natural out. It just picks up, then keeps going on and on and on. If your game is on, give me a call, boo. If your game is on, give me a call, boo. If your game is on, give me a call, boo. And it just goes on and on and on in your head. At the end of the week, they find you dead in your bathroom.
I know you were saying, if your game is on, give me a call, boo. But all I could hear in my head was, how's Annie? How's Annie? How's Annie? And for anyone who understood that reference, I'm so sorry to bring those thoughts back to your forefront.
God damn it.
There's I was going to say the only redeemable thing about this song. There is none, so I'm going to correct myself. The only fun thing about this song was the fact that it at least spawned that TikTok dance challenge that caused people to get out of their cars and have them drive off because they left them in drive. And that was just a thing that people did on TikTok for really no reason at all. So that was entertaining to me. That was worth like 10 slots just for people
just
having their
for
cars
that,
right
just
off
for
of
watching idiots cars drive away while they decide to get out and dance.
Well worth it.
Okay, I might be able to get behind that.
Nope, still at 93 for me.
That's fair. That's exactly where it belongs. But you know what I actually can get behind?
What's that?
Is just because now we're stuck in the reverse. So is your best song of the year. Please, like, pull us out of this nosedive.
Yeah, I think that I can do, if it is my turn.
Sure.
I just told you it's your turn, so go.
You said you. There are two yous in this room. One of these yous is not like the other.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. You know, I was going to try to use the excuse. I was looking right at you, but that doesn't help you either.
How many times have I pointed at this smile?
I know. We're still, despite the fact we do this for 4 years, we're still kind of, the old guys when it comes to this level of technology.
We'll never learn.
No, unfortunately not.
So this was a pretty tough decision between number one and number two for me. The margin, I think, was fairly razor thin as far as the songs, as far as how I felt about them. But the thing that finally swung the needle in the direction that it went was the impact and influence, which for this act and this song is still palpable even today. Still banging in 2024, just as much as it was in 1996. My number one track is Outkast with Elevators, Me and You. Or should I say, Me and You? And you're singing the rest in your head already, so I'm going to stop here and let Big Boy and Andre 3000 take it away, as they damn well should. If there's anything remotely negative to say about this track, it's that it's maybe too far ahead of its time. which you could probably say about the majority of their output in the 90s, very much including the album that the song was on, which was ATLians. A truly seminal work in hip hop. Truly seminal. Like, I don't say that as an exaggeration. I don't say that as a bit. Like, this was a blueprint by all accounts. The track itself, if we're going to dissect the flow, it's so smooth. It's so easy just to get lost in the flow, just to get lost in the beat, in the production, that you may not even be listening to the lyrics. But the lyrics themselves are telling an awesome story. It's their story. It's Outkast story. It's Big Boy. It's Andre 3000. It's how they got to be to the point where they were at. And granted, in 1996, they still had miles and miles of upward trajectory left to go. So certainly this was not the zenith for them by any stretch of the imagination. And just to make sure that I underscore my point from before, if this track came out, and I thought long and hard about this to make sure I wasn't just bullshitting any of you, but if this album and this track came out literally this week, I am certain that I would pencil it in as one of my favorite tracks of the year. And that goes for if it's 2014, if it's 2004, or of course, if it's 1996. Like, it's timeless, and it is just it's a blueprint, no pun intended, of what hip hop music, should and would become to some extent, in the years and decades following.
Well, you've left little to no room for argument, so it's a good thing that I have it at number 12.
Phew.
Exactly. I can't. I mean, it's a good thing I have it at number 14. So, yeah.
I was struggling to remember while you were talking when we did our 90s hip hop rush if we wound up including Outkast on it. I think we did.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure, yeah.
I think it was a later edition after some discussion, but I think they did end up making the rush. By the way, top 4 of a category, of a topic. We're actually going to be doing one here very soon, so stay tuned for that. It's going to be either the next or the episode after the next one from this one. So you'll hear all about what that format is and what we do here in the next week or two.
Yeah.
But we still have a podcast to finish right now. So Jay, go ahead and give us your number 1.
Mine's pretty easy. It's already been talked about. My number 1 is the greatest combination of harmony and thuggery. And it's what made Bone a household name in the 90s. The Crossroads is an anthem to moving on from tragedy in an imperfect world. And the song is hopeful and wistful and sad and dynamic. And it runs through the 5 stages of grief without being overly negative or preachy. And it is just cool.
I know we talked about it quite a bit when we went and did the deep dive, and we were kind of looking back. And I know we spent a lot of time talking about what helped make Bone such what helped them break. And it was because nobody sounded like them.
Nobody.
Mm-hmm.
And I there is no question, no matter what track you put on, there's no question it is a Bone Thug song. And I think that's what helps combine with the writing and combine with the sentiment behind those words. But then you just take that unique sound.
Literally. Shout out DJ Unique.
Yeah. There's just so much there. And, even like you said, like, it's a unique sound. And even when they tried to expand into like the whole Mo Thugs family thing, like, it didn't quite play. Like, there's good stuff there, but it doesn't sound like them.
Right.
And there's nothing wrong with that. Like, it was an expansion. It was good stuff. Just it's not their sound, and that's what I was there for. So I didn't always love the Mo Thug stuff. I will say, even on this list, there's that one track that tried to sound kind of like Bone Thugs. I think it was Do or Die with Twista. They kind of had that little like harmonic flow, whatever. Mm-hmm. And it's objectively, it sort of has everything that you'd want from a Bone Thugs record, but it's so like affected and goofy that it doesn't play. Twista's the shit though.
Yeah, that was really one of his first. That was probably his first big break.
Yeah, probably.
Was that track?
Anyway, it's not Bone Thugs in Harmony. It is not a number 1 track. The Crossroads is a number 1 track. Even though it's not the album cut, of the song. Like I can't find the original album cut for that song anymore. I'm sure it's on YouTube somewhere.
Oh, as opposed to the remix.
Yeah, well, there's the MTV version, which is the one that charted, was not on the original East 1999 Eternal.
Right.
It wasn't on the record. That doesn't diminish it at all. It's a fantastic song. There's a song called The Crossroads that's on the original East 1999 Eternal. And now if you pull that song up or that album up on Spotify, it's the MTV version.
Really?
And not the original. Yeah.
Weird. Okay.
I'm going to run downstairs afterwards because I actually have this album on vinyl. So I'm going to check and see which version is made the pressing. I would guess it was the original album version, but now I'm not sure.
Yeah. The one that is up on Spotify is not the original album version.
That is interesting.
I'll see if I can find it on YouTube and link it to you later, but it's different.
Yeah. Good list, boys. Once again.
Dan still got one more for us.
Oh,
yes!
Motherfucker. No. It's the reorder of the reorder. That's what fucks me. None of that's getting cut, I know. So
no. It's got to stay in because it's great.
It's only fair.
At this point, it's our only bit. It's actually probably the bit that's running as long as its course. We tried to make some stuff work early, but none of it worked.
Imagine our bits fail.
Yeah, I know, right? Who'd have thunk? This bastion of comedic genius could not get any bit to connect from one show to the next. Oof. I'll make this a quick and dirty then. I don't need to explain, I don't think anything, too much at least, about my number one song. This is probably the most complete hip-hop song of the period with the legit best piano part in the game. Jay said it better than I ever could, and no, I'm not just saying that because I'm writing this literally as he's doing his explanation for his exist being his number 5. I don't know how many minutes ago. The best song of 1996 is No Diggity.
Obviously, I don't have an argument.
Nor do I.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it just like drills into your head and just stays there.
Right.
It's such an earworm.
That's what I'm saying. Like you were doing it then when he read it for his number 4 or 5, and I'm doing it now. And
are we doing it well?
No, don't do that.
I hope not.
Please don't do that.
I will pass if that's the offer.
Yeah.
The listeners, you shouldn't pass on our social media accounts because that's how you plug things. At Fairly KickAss on Twitter, at Fairly KickAss on Instagram, at Fairly KickAss on TikTok. FairlyKickAss.com is a place that we're actually posting things to now. And by we, I mean me and Jay, because Dan has been posting there forever, and the two of us just didn't. So now everyone's getting into the fun.
Yay.
We will have the ride-along playlist for this episode and every episode on the website. If y'all want to check that out and listen to all the songs that we talked about during this episode. We will also post our actual re-ranked lists, I think, ? If we have the technology to do that, then we'll post so you can see all of our 1 through 100s or 97s or 105s in all their glory. Email us if you're 80 years old and still use email. It's fairlykickass@gmail.com. And of course, this podcast right here, you can find it anywhere where you get your podcast. And I mean anywhere except for that one place that we didn't post it to, because I just found out today that was a place that we didn't post it to. So soon it will actually be anywhere.
Beautiful.
And with that said, boys, anything before we wrap up this re-rank of 1996?
I got nothing.
Never do.
I truly enjoyed all of our banter today.
It was enjoyable. I agree. Now I know how this works, and every time I hit that fucking stop button, one of you says something awesome, and I don't get it, so I ain't hitting it. I am not hitting that button. Y'all are just going to have to languish here, and we're just going to record.
Poor
no,
Nikki.
not actually.
Did you, as I say, did you realize we were doing an awkward pause to finish the show?